Hello. I know it's been a while. I'm terrible at uploading anything consistent, but I promise I'm working on stuff behind the scenes. I figured to celebrate Shino's hitting 1 million views, I would do a little director's commentary that's hopefully helpful or interesting. Maybe I'll do one for Blackwood once it reaches 1 million as well. When making the score with Josh, I took a lot of inspiration from the Alan Wake video game soundtrack and actually used it as a temp track over this first scene. So the whole opening sequence is what I first thought of when I had the idea for She Knows. The two main things I knew I wanted were that reveal of Josh getting rid of the body and then the title over the drone shot of the car. I definitely took a lot of inspiration visually from David Fincher's Mindhunter for the whole short, but especially for the title.
Girl, they say could be in serious danger. She was last seen on January 27th. That's when a girl's parents say they last heard from their daughter when she texted them from school. On Friday, the community held a prayer service praying for the girl's safe return.
Rage, intolerance, anger. It's what a lot of Americans are feeling across our nation right now. But right now is a moment we can all...
Fun fact, I'm the other voice on the phone in this scene. The dialogue for Josh was recorded directly with the phone at his ear.
Hey man.
I did the same thing for my half of the scene and just added some effects in post.
I'm alright. How about you?
I'm good. I was just wondering where you put her.
What?
Where did you put her?
What do you mean?
Where did you put her? 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 Where did you put her?
This is a cool shot. It's one of those shots that I look back on and I think, that was a cool shot. Another fun fact, the David Attenborough impression was also me. I have a full-on 2-minute recording with sound effects added and everything. Maybe I'll start a Patreon, and that will literally be the only thing on my Patreon. Someone pointed out in the comments that it turns 220 right at the 220 mark in the video, which is true but totally unintentional. I literally had no idea until somebody pointed it out. This short is a good example of taking advantage of the lighting that's available to you. In this shot, the only light is the TV. In the phone call scene, I just took some light bulbs out in the kitchen to make it a little bit darker and used my office lamp to light half of Josh's face. Really, the only artificial lighting used in the whole film was in the shot of Josh sleeping on the couch. That was just with my cheap softbox. So just because you don't have a whole bunch of lighting gear doesn't necessarily mean you can't shape the light that you do have. This is the only scene in the short where I decided to go handheld to hopefully create a little more unease and tension. I was fairly deliberate when choosing whether to push in on the door or push out. Every shot while she's crying is a push in, and once the crying turns to laughing and becomes more sinister, then I start to push out, almost like the camera is realizing the fear along with the character. This is actually a visual effects shot. In the original shot, the camera was visible in the bathroom mirror, so we just masked it out and darkened it in post. The only visual effect in that last shot was just masking out the doorway and darkening it slightly. When we shot it, Lila just stood on a chair and had makeup around her eyes, and I made sure to use my 50mm so I could get a close focal length and blur Lila out as much as possible, so it was pretty much all practical. Well, that's it. I hope you enjoyed and learned something new from this. Maybe not. I don't care. I'm kidding, I do care. I'm constantly working on projects and I'm hoping to put more content on here soon. Until then, thanks for the support. And,